My name is Melly. I'm 32 years old and married. My husband, Justin, is 35 and works in an office. I'm a freelance fashion designer working from home. My work was unstable with many small assignments in the beginning, but I landed on a big project with a large paycheck recently. It gave Justin and I an opportunity to move into a high-rise luxury apartment. Since I was the one who wanted to live in such a place, I agreed to pay the monthly rent from my own pocket. Justin was quite delighted to live in the lavish apartment that I thought we had a happy future ahead of us. I had never imagined what was to come next. One day, Justin brought his mother, Betty, back to our place. She was 65 years old. Her husband passed away 3 years ago, and she had been living alone since. Hi, Melly. Hi, Betty. It's been a while. What's going on?
Well, she wants to live with us,
Justin said uncomfortably. Why? To my surprise, he explained that her house was getting too old and wanted to move to a better place. She didn't have a lot of money, therefore, she wanted to move in with us for the time being. Oh, I see. I understood, but to be honest, I wasn't too keen on it. I believed that our place was a comfortable nest for the two of us. Betty, whom I hadn't had much contact, was like a stranger to me. I felt resistance to having her with us.
Please. Her house is tattered. Who knows when it starts falling apart? I'll urge her to find a small but new place as soon as possible.
He took my hands and pleaded. Okay. I assumed it was just for a short period and reluctantly agreed. Betty moved in a month later. Thank you so much for letting me stay in such a fantastic apartment. No problem. Please make yourself at home. I welcomed her with my best fake smile. Sorry to dive right in, but may I borrow some money? Huh? Money? As soon as she placed her things in her room, she asked me to lend her money. I was astounded by her bluntness. Right. I've been seeing the doctor a lot lately, and it costs me money. I just need a little bit, please. How much are you asking? Around $300 for now. For medical bills? I guessed it was normal to experience some health issues at her age. I could understand that the bills were easily piling up. All right. I found $6 $50 bills in my purse and gave them to her. And then one day, Justin asked me for advice. I felt unrest, wondering if it was something to do with Betty.
You know, we should get a new car.
It was so unexpected that I almost fell out of the chair. What do you mean? We just bought a car 2 years ago.
But it's too small. I think we should get a bigger one.
It didn't matter if it was big or small. It was for the two of us, or three, if we included Betty. Why did he care how big it was?
I mean, my mom doesn't like it.
Why? I don't get it. I wondered why she complained about a car that had nothing to do with her.
She wants a more luxurious car, like Mercedes.
Huh? I was totally lost. What a nonsense! We can't afford such a car. Who got the money to change a car for such a lame reason? Did Betty even have a driver's license anyway? I will not buy an expensive car. Tell her to. I rejected his suggestions at the drop of the hat. It wasn't apparent to me at that time why she cared about the car. And once again, Betty asked me for money. My medical bills got more expensive, and I'm behind with payments. Could you help me again?
Should I be concerned about your health? I asked her. She paused for a while and replied,
Not really. I just felt a bit depressed and have a hard time falling asleep. The therapist is quite expensive. I'm really sorry.
I see. Well, if that's the case, how much do you need?
About 1,000 for now.
$1,000? I shrieked. I didn't know much about the therapy, but it sounded too expensive.
I'm sorry. My insurance pays in full only for a limited number of sessions, and then I have to take up half of the charge.
I see. Hold on, I'll get it by tomorrow. I was shocked by the amount, but I forcibly tried to understand. There must have been taste and whatnot that cost a lot. Even after that, she used likely excuses such as medical bills and transportation fees to visit her sick friends to borrow more money from me. When I realized the amount had exceeded $5,000. Even if my job was successful, I was getting fed up. And then I noticed something strange. I took a sneak peek at Betty's room one day. What the? There were designer bags and wallets that were placed neatly on the wall shelf. I was flabbergasted by the sight. I thought she didn't have money. How come she had those luxurious items? She borrowed so much money from me, yet she owned so much expensive stuff. I became suspicious about the medical bills. A month later, Betty came to me for money again.
Melly, about money?
She asked, as a matter of factory without guilty. Can you please wait? I had planned to interrogate her at the right moment, so I called Justin, who seemed to be doing nothing. I want to make this opportunity to ask you, Betty, what are you using the money for? Wait, what's going on, Melly? Justin had no clue about what I was asking his mother.
You know, my therapy sessions, prescriptions, and...
She mumbled. Not only those, right? You've been buying designer clothes, bags, and other things, haven't you? Are you really seeing the therapist?
Of course.
Then, please show me the receipts. You must have them, right?
Well...
When I harshly cornered her with a blunt question, she couldn't say anything more. I realized that she wasn't spending the money on her well-being, but on something else. Wait a sec. What are you guys talking about? Justin was still confused. Betty was squandering the money she borrowed from me. It's more than 5,000, you know. Even so, you're being too aggressive. Can't you speak to her in a nicer way? He had a soft spot for his mom. In other words, he was a mama's boy.
I don't have receipts. I was shopping and eating out with my friends,
she confessed at last. I was thinking how relaxed you seem, even though you supposedly had no money. Besides, you didn't seem so depressed. If it was all lying, please pay me back right now. Betty looked at me with pleading eyes.
Wait, I can't come up with such an amount right away.
I've had enough already, so I pointed at her room and said, You got so much designer stuff in your room. Resell them all. Otherwise, please move out. To which the mama's voice said, Hey, you're so one-sided. She deserves a little luxury too. He came to her rescue. What the? I wouldn't call squandering money you borrow a luxury. More than $5,000 is down the drain. It's like a scam. You're being disrespectful. Don't be so arrogant just because you're paying the rent here. If you're not happy with this, you get out. What? Such nonsense. I was reaching the boiling point that steam was about to come out of my ears. I glared at him furiously. Did I say anything wrong? You created the cause by bringing Betty here. In the first place, you do nothing but be lazy at home. Thanks to whom do you think you can live in such a nice place? I snapped at him. You're so condescending that it's so infuriating. Get the heck out now! Rage had taken over him. I see. Okay, don't regret it. I packed up only the necessary things and left the apartment. I found a new place right away. I was a remote worker, so that I could do my job from wherever I lived. I wasn't obsessed about living in a high-rise. As long as my living space was comfortable, well, what to do next? I had no intention to go back to that place anymore. The rent had been paid monthly by me. I assumed that Justin had no interest in taking over. Even if he wanted, it was impossible to pay with his paycheck. My income was much more than his. I went to consult with a realtor who had helped me before. It's becoming very hard to pay the monthly rent due to personal reasons. I could actually afford it, but I intentionally lied. I'm sorry to hear that. What would you like to do? So I asked him for a favor. One day, I got a call from Justin while I was working. What? What do you mean, what? What have you done? I was told to move out because the lease was cancelled. Yes, I asked the property agent for permission to break the lease. You know, I don't live there anymore, so I have no reason to pay the rent. Don't you even get that? The reason is that my mom and I still live here. What the nonsense. I was amazed and let out a sigh. I don't live there, so why should I keep taking care of the apartment? If you're in trouble, you should consult your mom and maybe resell her things to get some money. I said in a sarcastic tone. Shut up! It was you who wanted to live in a high-rise. If you don't want to move, why don't you take over the lease yourself? Wait, I guess you can afford it with your salary. He must have been frustrated that he couldn't come up with his next argument. You know, you must be able to afford a shabby apartment, so go find it and move in with your mom. Are you crazy? My mom's already spent the money from the sales of her house, and I have no savings. How do you expect me to find a new place? None of my business. He had depended on my income for the most part, and how come he still had no savings? I acknowledged the debauchery of the mother and the son. You deserve it for being foolish for a long time. Figure it out yourself from now on. Are you telling us to be homeless? You're still my wife. I told you, find somewhere else to live. Anyway, I'm done with you. Goodbye. I hung up on him. My phone rang again a few minutes later. It was Betty. Yes?
Melly, I'm really sorry. I will pay you back, so please don't kick us out.
She pleaded in tears. I was astonished and said, I don't want to give a lesson to an older person, but you know, you should live within your means. If you only have a little retirement, you try to live accordingly. If you want a higher standard, you have to work. As a freelancer, I understood the harsh reality. If I wanted a certain level of lifestyle, I must work hard to earn a level of money instead of relying on someone.
It was all my fault. I apologize. Please don't let us be on the street. I'm sorry, but that apartment has already been leased by someone else. You really do need to move out. This is a regulatory matter. I coldly turned her down and head up the call. Later on, I heard from the realtor that Justin and Betty begged him to keep the lease in tears. However, he told them that a new tenant was moving in soon, and they needed to leave. I supposed even if they continue living there, Justin's salary would have been used up by the rent, and they couldn't have afforded anything else. To begin with, it was total nonsense to keep me, who was paying the rent out, while he was relying on me. He had upset me by letting his temper flare, which resulted in the point of no return. Such an idiot. I heard all the rest of their story from people who knew them, that they were unable to rent an apartment and were moving from a motel to a motel. That was because he had no money to pay the broker fee and deposit, and no one wanted to be his guarantor. As for the guarantor, he could have used a service, but the broker fee and deposit had to be prepared by him. Betty had worked only for a short time, so that her social security didn't pay much. They were even struggling to eat. They brought all this upon themselves. On my side, I managed to get another big project and become financially more comfortable. When I look back on our marriage, I learned that being dependent on one or the other is not sustainable. In terms of both money and living it all up to your partner or being dependent on your partner will cause you tremendous pain when it comes to the point. As a side note, Justin and I were separated for a while, and finally divorced at the end. After all that, our feelings for each other cooled off, and we didn't have a reason to stay married. Well, now that we are strangers, I'm feeling relieved. If I am to marry again, I need to be more discerning. I'll take my time to find the right partner. The divorce taught me many different perspectives on life.